Welcome back, everybody, to Fresh Outlook. I'm Logan Crawford. It is time for our lightning round. Joining us in studio are political psychologist Dr. Bart Rossi, political science professor Alain Sanders of St. Peter's University, and Chris Kline of Westmoreland County Community College. Let's begin with issue number one. You get blindfolded, you cover your ears. I'll ask Bart the first question. Okay, it's not a game show, just trying to sound like that. Mississippi newlyweds caught trying to join ISIS. It almost sounds like an SNL skit.
You know, psychologists talk about mental set. People have a certain mental set. This is one that is quite bizarre and extreme, but people do get these weird thought processes somehow in their mind, joining ISIL or whatever they think is the right thing to do or what they want to do in their life. As bizarre as it sounds, they develop this particular mental set, and that's the road they went down, and it's just crazy behavior, but it is there.
It used to be join the Peace Corps, now it's join ISIL when you turn 21.
Just bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Scary. Is what this is all about, and it shows us the challenge that we face when fighting terrorism. What could possibly draw people like that, young people like that, to a deadly and immoral cause? You really have to wonder. It's very scary.
Why do you think you're seeing more and more young people contemplate a move such as this, Chris, to put you on the spot?
I just think it's a lack of understanding of what this group is, a lack of knowledge, and just it looks, for lack of a better term, cool. Who knows why they think that, but there's just something that gravitates them to it, and it is scary. I mean, they don't have an understanding of it. They don't know what they're doing, and I mean, it's something that has to somehow be stopped, and because of what could happen on the other end in terms of coming back.
They may have their own belief system. They may be angry themselves and frustrated and agitated in ways that make them go down this road.
Right.
I wonder whether they don't see themselves as being in a movie. This is as exciting as an action-packed movie, except it's real and dangerous.
There seems to be pressure today amongst young people, and I think it manifests itself on Facebook and Instagram and other social media as well, to do something significant, to be someone famous, to have notoriety, to be notorious.
Right.
And it fuels a lot of negative actions.
Immediate identity. You see this sometimes with police departments where you get the wrong person on a department. They have immediate identification of power. They become a police officer. Most cops are good ones, of course. But now, to your point, this is exactly what happens. They feel that they're going to be powerful. They're going to join something. They're going to make their mark.
Yeah.
As bizarre as it is.
From being a school shooter to joining ISIS or to whatever malevolent.
It also points to the idea of a power of an idea.
Yeah.
You know, how powerful those are. You mentioned social media and how fast they can travel, and where people can get these ideas that, hey, that looks great, let's go do it. You know, things that you never previously would have even thought about.
And people don't look at credible sources anymore.
No.
Even our mainstream media isn't necessarily credible when you look at people like Brian Williams and George Stephanopoulos, but we'll talk about that another time. Connecticut declares the death penalty unconstitutional, sparing 11 people who are on death row. Bart, your thoughts?
Well, in New Jersey, we got rid of the death penalty here, and Republicans and Democrats, Senator Lesniak kind of spearheaded that, and I think it was the right way to go, really. I think spending millions of dollars to see if we should put someone to death probably doesn't work, and putting someone in jail for the rest of their life for a terrible crime, that's fine with me. I don't really need to know that they're going to be killed. And how many times can you really kill somebody, you know? I mean, the anger that you have with some of these terrible individuals, let them stay in jail forever.
Alan?
Well, there's so many errors that have been documented with death penalty cases. The punishment is final, and so any error that is made is impossible to correct. And so I think you're seeing many more people, when they think about this penalty thoroughly and seriously, say, well, somebody's going to be put away for life, really put away for life. That will mean that that person will be incapacitated. The fame and notoriety of the crime will dissipate. And so that seems to be a good solution, with the possibility that if an error was made, it can be corrected. And so I think we're seeing people move in that direction.
Chris?
We've definitely entered a phase where this is now part of the national discussion. I mean, whether it was the set of drugs that were to be used in lethal injection cases, we saw how that was decided in the West. In Pennsylvania, now there's a moratorium on the death penalty that the governor has placed into effect. So I think it's just something we're going to continue to see state by state level. It'll be interesting to see if the Supreme Court will touch it again.
I think if you had any dealings with the criminal justice system at all, whether it be a traffic ticket or divorce court or family court or whatever it might be, or if you've ever been sued, you realize just how unfair the system is. And to think that some people die at the hands of this unjust and unfair system is crazy. And when you think that you're trying to stop people from killing by killing them, it doesn't really make sense, because as a society you're saying killing is okay.
Yeah,
because
and
we
people
kill.
make up that system that you're talking
Exactly.
about. And all these people are far from perfect themselves.
Exactly.
So we have an imperfect system talking about a final determination.
And with that said, I understand the guttural and visceral reaction. If somebody hurts my family, I want them dead.
Right.
But, you know, Michael Dukakis wrestled with that one as well. Okay, U.S. Embassy opens up in Cuba after 54 years. Your thoughts?
I think it's great. I mean, 54 years of nothing happening. I mean, you know, politicians on both sides talk about creating jobs. We're going to have boats going to Cuba, planes flying, trade. Harley Davidson's probably going to have a boom to its economy because they like motorcycles down there. This is great for many reasons, but some folks seem to think that we should be angry and hateful against the Cubans. I don't get that. We have many, many nations that we're supposedly friendly with, and they're kind of bizarre in a way too. So I think it's fine. I think it's a good way to go, and I applaud the administration for going down this road.
Alan?
Yeah, I think it's a good policy move, but I think it also has to be a policy move that's substantiated with aggressive diplomacy. I think a lot of people are upset about recognizing a regime that really violates human rights and has confiscated properties of people right and left. I think what we need is engagement, and I think diplomacy will produce that sort of engagement, but the politics of engagement have to follow. If they do, I think we will find that the regime, the Castro regime, will probably wither away or crumble.
Okay. Well, I hope they keep the diplomatic relations going and the opening of Cuba going for one reason. I love old cars, and I want to drive around in like a 1954 Chevy or something down on Havana Main Street.
I think the jury's still out. I mean, you know, on the one hand, we can say the policy wasn't working. You know, 54 years, we had an embargo, no diplomatic relations, and where'd it get us? I mean, the Castro brothers have out-survived, you know, how many presidents? You know, and they're still in power. You know, but outside of that, I think we have to recognize that there was only one country that had an embargo against Cuba, and that was the U.S. We're going to now go ahead and move past that. We are going to have diplomatic relations. Engagement is going to be the key with there. We've seen that throughout history, how important that is. But at the same time, there has to be some element of internal change with Cuba, and I'm not convinced
Okay,
that
from Havana to Sesame Street, got to switch.
Sure.
The voices in my head are talking to me. It happens all the time, especially when I'm not working. What do you think of these guys, these Muppets going on pay TV?
I think it's fine. Anything that Sesame does that helps promote their product or their activity is fine with me.
Alan?
Well, even Big Bird needs money, and I think that's what's happening. Big Bird needs money, and HBO will
I
provide
think it was
it.
Mitt Romney who killed Big Bird because he talked about how much the children's workshop was funded, and people said, you know what, enough of this.
well, maybe it'll now keep Big Bird out of presidential politics.
Exactly. I think he's there, and his name is Bill de Blasio. That is it for this edition of Fresh Outlook, Ebru's TV talk show that does what else but help you keep your outlook fresh and informed. Dr. Bart Rossi, Alain Sanders, and Chris Kline, thanks for making the long drive here today. I'm Logan Crawford. Thank you for turning us on.